Okay, so our notes, we're in section 9.5, our last section, and spheres is the topic. And so the volume of a sphere is 4/3. And by the way, with our test coming up, there's some formulas we've been looking at, and you're going to want to make sure you've memorized these formulas before our test. Okay. The volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed, and a sphere is a ball shape, right? So basketball is a sphere. Spheres all around us here, right? So, and sphere is a set of points equidistant from the center, just like a circle, but it's three-dimensional. So you can wave that radius from the center any direction, and it creates that sphere. If you were to cut the sphere in half, you may know what the name of half a sphere is? Not semi-sphere, hemisphere. Okay, you may have heard that before, the hemisphere, right? So half a sphere is a hemisphere. And so if you were to slice that circle in half, you'd get this large circle, right? That would be where your cut is, and that circle is called the great circle. Just a little bit of vocab here, so. Okay, and so let's try a little example here. And what's important to know is that the radius of the great circle is still the same radius of the sphere. Okay, example 1. The circumference of a great circle in a sphere is 20 pi centimeters. Find the volume of the sphere. So what do you need to find the volume of a sphere? Radius, that's it. If you know the radius, you got it, right? So that's what you're after. Do they give you the radius? Not directly, but you can find it, right? They give you the circumference of one of the great circles, and so we got to use our circumference formula to help us find the radius. And so what's the radius going to be? 10. So our circumference formula is 2 pi r. That's the distance all the way around the circle. And we know that distance is 20 pi. So if I divide both sides by 2 pi, I get the radius is 20 pi over 2 pi, which is 10. And now I can plug that into the volume formula, which is 4/3 pi times 10 to the third power. What's that going to come out to be? What's 10 to the third power? 10 times 10 times 10? 1,000. One with 3 zeros, right? And then you got 1,000 times 4 is 4,000. We still got the pi, and all that's going to be over 3, and that's going to be our cubic inches for our volume. So that's question? Okay. So that's first example. Second example. Find the radius of find the radius of a sphere with volume 2,500 cubic inches. So I want you to work backwards. I'll give you the volume. See if you can find the radius. So the volume is 2,500. The formula for the volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. So that would equal 2,500. And so there's your formula to solve for r, right? Oh, let me do one more thing. I'll make it easier. Let's make it 2,500 pi. We could find this one, but let's start with pi. The next example, I'll take pi away. So let's start with pi. So what would be a good first step in solving for r? Okay, get rid of the fraction. How would you do that? Multiply both sides by 3, right? Okay, so let's do that. Multiply both sides by 3. And we're going to get 4 pi r to the third is going to be 3 times 2,500, which is 7,500. All right. Oh, I forgot my pi. Don't forget pi. Even though it's not pi day. Forget pi. What now? Divide by 4 pi. So r cubed is equal to, and I'm going to split up the 75 to 100 to 75 times 100. It's the same thing, right? You'll see why I'm going to do that. Over 4 pi. It's just going to be a little easier just to divide the 100 by 4 than the 7,500 by 4. Please? Oh, Tessa. So here, go ahead and divide. So we're going to get 75 times 25. And then the pi reduces, and the 100 over 4 reduces to 25. And then next step. What would you do next? Take the cube root. Would you multiply the 75 and 25? Why not, right? Because when you take the cube root of something, you actually want to break things down. And so r is going to be the cube root of 75 times 25. And we haven't done cube roots since unit 1. It's been a while, but it's like square roots. So you break the numbers down and simplify, right? 75 is 3 times 25, and 25 is 5 times 5. So we end up with 3 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And we're looking for sets of 3 things to get a perfect cube. And we can take the cube root of 5 times 5 times 5 and get 5. And we're left with the cube root of 15. And we're looking at inches here. So the radius is 5 cube root 15 inches. Now, if you have a calculator, I want you to try putting this into your calculator. And because you need to know, you're able to use a calculator in this unit. You're probably going to need one on the test. And you're going to need to know how to take the cube root of a number with your calculator. On 90% of our calculators, just to streamline this process a little bit, you'll see that, okay, where you have an x in the index of the root. So you're going to look for that. It's not every calculator, but most of yours has this. And so what you'll type in is, so like say I want the cube root of 8. If I wanted the cube root of 8, I would type in 3 for cube root, and then I'd hit this symbol, and then I'd put 8, and then hit enter, and then it would give me the cube root of 8. So I just want you to know how to use your calculator. But try it on this one, see if you can get what I'm going to get. I'm also going to find the value. And let's round it to the 100th place, the 2 decimal places. And I get 12.33 inches. Let's see if you can get that. All right, last example. Find the radius. And when I say find, in this one I'm going to say to approximate. Of a sphere. With a volume equal to 100 cubic feet. So approximate means what? Give the decimal value, and let's go 2 decimal places out. So you're going to kind of go through the same process we did in example 2, but see what you can do on your own. And if you have a calculator, use it. If you don't have a calculator, do as much as you can without a calculator. I'll work it out myself with that too, and then use the calculator at the end.